The night was cold and still in Hammersmith, a small village just west of London, when Francis Smith stepped out with a loaded shotgun. The year was 1804. Moonlight spilled over the gravestones, casting long shadows down Black Lion Lane. For weeks now, the villagers had been haunted by whispers of a ghostly figure that stalked the streets after dark. They said it wore white, glided silently, and vanished when chased. And they believed it had already frightened one man to death. Francis wasn't a constable. He wasn't a soldier. He was just a customs officer. But fear was spreading like a sickness, and people wanted justice. He'd heard the ghost had appeared again near the cemetery. So, he went looking for it. He wasn't the only one. The rumors had started in late December. Several witnesses claimed they'd seen the ghost floating near the churchyard. One man, a brewer's servant named Thomas Groom, swore the figure had leapt from behind a tombstone and tried to throttle him. Another woman, pregnant at the time, had fainted from the shock, losing her child days later. That grief was added to the tally of what the ghost had taken. By January, panic had replaced curiosity. Local men began patrolling the streets with weapons. Most were amateurs, driven not by duty, but dread. That night, Francis Smith wasn't patrolling. He was hunting. He moved carefully through the lane, eyes scanning the shadows. A rustle caught his attention. Footsteps. Then a figure appeared from the mist. It was dressed in white. Smith raised his gun and shouted. He demanded to know who it was. No reply. He fired. The figure fell instantly. When the smoke cleared, it wasn't a ghost lying in the road. It was Thomas Millwood, a bricklayer. He had been walking home from his sister's house, wearing his usual work clothes, white linen trousers, a white shirt, and a white apron. It was late. He hadn't answered because he hadn't heard the warning in time. He'd been mistaken for the ghost. And now, he was dead. The village turned silent. The rumors stopped, but only for a moment. Francis Smith was arrested for murder. His defense? That he truly believed he was firing on a supernatural threat, that he had no intention of killing a man, only stopping a spirit. But the law didn't bend for folklore. The judge instructed the jury that a mistaken belief, no matter how sincere, did not justify the taking of a life. He was found guilty and sentenced to death. The courtroom held its breath. Then, in an extraordinary act of royal mercy, King George III intervened. He commuted the sentence to 1 year of hard labor. But the damage was done. Hammersmith was left with a ghost story far more unsettling than the one that came before. Now it wasn't the spirit of an unknown figure haunting the village. It was the memory of a man shot down by fear. A man mistaken for myth. In the years that followed, people still spoke of the Hammersmith ghost. Some say it was a real specter, possibly the restless soul of a man who'd committed suicide and was buried in sacred ground. Others think it was nothing more than local hysteria, a figment fed by superstition and long winter nights. But one thing is certain. On that quiet road in 1804, it wasn't a ghost that killed Thomas Millwood. It was a man who pulled the trigger before truth had time to speak. Thank you for listening to The Lantern's Tale. Subscribe for more true stories, if you dare.